My name is Brandi Murphy. For those of you that are joining us, I am the Director of NutraMetrix Training and Field Development, and I'm so excited to be broadcasting live on Market America's page today to talk about NutraMetrix, division of Market America. And so for those of you that aren't familiar with what Market America offers to our health professionals, we have an entire program of products, services, and education, and we have an entire system to train our unfranchised owners on how to work with health professionals to implement our products and services into their practice. I asked David to join me today. David is one of our NutraMetrix consultants, so he can share what NutraMetrix has done for his business and how we are incorporating NutraMetrix into health professionals' practices in these unique times today. So David, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and your background?
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. You're actually the reason that I got started with this company, because I got really enrolled in the mission of NutraMetrix when I saw you presenting about it in 2011. And I'm from New York.
Okay.
And I actually studied business. I studied international marketing and economics, and I had a stint in the hedge fund world as an engineer, and I hated that life, and I ended up becoming a fitness trainer. But as a fitness trainer, I started to get a lot of athletic training education, but I started to notice that there was a lot of lifestyle medicine was a big missing component, and it was kind of a perfect storm of events that I encountered NutraMetrix, and I encountered you and the team at that time, and I saw it as a perfect fit for me. And I was really enrolled in the professionalism and how you articulate yourself, and just the level of excellence that the company exudes and the training exudes was something that attracted me and made me want to partner with the company.
Awesome. Well, that's so great to hear. And what's your, you've been working with NutraMetrix now for 9 years. What's your favorite thing about NutraMetrix and what it's done for your business?
I have so many things that are my favorite about NutraMetrix, but I'm a product of my environment, really, which is what attracted me. I'm affiliated with very, very prolific people in this division: Lisa Grant, Joanne Orshan, Rebecca Carfey. So I have them around me. It was kind of a perfect mix of me being around them. But my favorite things really about it are that in the professional networking community that I engage in often, it really gives me relatability to the other professionals in my circle: attorneys, people in insurance, people in very traditional professions. They don't necessarily kind of understand internet franchising types of businesses. It's a very foreign concept to them. But when I explain to them that I implement wellness solutions into healthcare offices, it goes click in their brain. They completely understand, and they go, okay, I can connect you with maybe a doctor that I've done business with. It makes it easy for them to refer me. And the other thing about it is it really catapults and accelerates the growth of my business, because traditionally healthcare providers have been working with patients for years. They have thousands and thousands of people as built-in potential customers. So
right now, speaking of health professionals, we have some people on the Market America Facebook page joined us. We are streaming live on the page as well, and they might not be familiar with what we mean by health professionals. So, what kinds of health professionals do you work with, and what kind of health professionals do you have on your team?
I'm going to try to speak a little bit louder because the audience is telling me by chat that I need to be. It's something with my microphone. I'm working on my technology a little bit. The types of health professionals that I have in my group are the ones that have already been in the space of speaking about integrative and lifestyle medicine with their patients, just because it's just easier to work with them if they're already speaking about that with their patients, as opposed to trying to introduce a new concept and a new idea. So it tends to be naturopathic doctors, integrative health professionals, and then I've been speaking to people in the dental community recently, because they have a unique scenario where they're looking into kind of like the gateway of systemic health with the oral cavity. So it's not necessarily the specialty that I look for, it's the mindset that I look for. People that are engaging in the conversation of prevention already. Those are the types of people and the healthcare providers that work really well with me.
And that's a perfect fit. In the NutraMetrix consultant training, for those of you that haven't been to it yet, one of the things that we talk about is the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And some of you may have seen Simon Sinek's TED Talk about that. And one of the golden nuggets out of the book is you want to do business with people who believe what you believe, not necessarily people that need what you have. And we do believe that everybody needs what we have, but you're absolutely right. Working with those practitioners who are already on the forefront, ahead of the curve, so to speak, who are promoting preventative wellness and lifestyle interventions to their patients are our ideal market. And I think this is very unique. For those of you that don't know, the NutraMetrix division was created in 2004. And at the same time, I think this is very synchronous, is the American College of Lifestyle Medicine was created in 2004. And there's really been this paradigm shift in healthcare to get people to understand that what they put in their mouth matters. What they eat or don't eat matters. How they're supplementing matters. How they deal with stress matters. How they exercise or don't exercise matter. And that's really the entire lifestyle medicine type component. And we can offer them through NutraMetrix and the partnership with the products that we have through Market America and the TLS weight management solution that we can offer to them. So we can really help those health professionals, even though they already believe in what we believe. We have these turnkey systems we can drop into their practice, and they don't have to create the wheel. And that makes it so nice and so easy for them. Now, let's talk a little bit about the changing environment right now. Over the past couple of weeks, there have been a lot of changes, and we have some of those providers, maybe for the very first time in their careers, not having the steady stream of patients come through the door that they have had in the past. I think a lot of healthcare professionals have considered themselves to be recession-proof, thinking there will always be patients coming through the door. There will always be people who are sick. Yet, with what's going on around us right now, many practices that or elective surgeries, elective procedures have been put on hold while we focus only on essential office visits. So there has been a little bit of a shift from physical location practices to more online and telehealth. Are you experiencing that as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are several types of healthcare providers that are not considered essential and have had to close their doors to their patients just for safety. So absolutely, telemedicine is becoming, I've seen it as a trend in the past because more and more as Americans, we want convenience, and it's become an amenity that the healthcare providers have had to just kind of have available for their patients. But it's become more of a prominent thing now that they're forced to. So yeah, absolutely.
And how are you helping your health professionals continue their retailing? Because the NutraMetrix system is really based on changing healthcare by getting the patients to understand lifestyle interventions. That includes our products. But if the patient isn't coming in the office, how are we making sure that the patients still have access to the products through their provider?
Well, I'm seeing a lot of people, both in my business and outside of my business, in the healthcare kind of circle, do a lot more content creation through social media and reach out with webinars and do these different kinds of things. But one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I could do is help them really engage more with their patients while they're experiencing this hiatus, we'll call it. And I've just kind of given them tools through Zoom and through telephone, through the forms and all of the solutions and tools that we already have with NutraMetrix. I'm directing them to those resources, and I'm helping them leverage those resources by picking up the phone and engaging in conversations, and maybe get exposed more to a telemedicine platform where they could engage a little bit more with their patients. So it's relationships are everything. So the people that have had the relationships already they're having a much easier time reach out to their people and continue building those relationships. But the ones that haven't, that I actually have some new partners that I started with this past week, and they haven't even engaged in the conversation of prevention in regards to nutrition with their patients. And so simple health surveys and a phone call, reaching out to them, letting them know, hey, I am actually expanding in this marketplace, in this new marketplace where everybody else is contracting. I'm actually expanding the scope of my practice, where I want to know more about the full spectrum wellness that you're concerned about. So I want to open up that door to that conversation with you, and here's how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and that's perfect. And we've had some of our practitioners reaching out to us over the past couple of weeks saying, I'm so thankful that I built a NutraMetrix business. I'm so thankful that I have my partnership with Market America, because over the last however many years they've had an account with us, maybe it's 2 years, maybe it's 3 years, maybe it's 10 years, they have patients who are still buying regularly. And tools like the NutraMetrix portal give them access to do that. They can drop ship. Everything that we're doing is still open for business. So practitioners can still drop ship the products to their patients. They don't have to come into the office to receive them. They're able to generate significant revenue through the retail products, but those of them that already have built a commission structure through our MPCP are very thankful for the ongoing income that they created. Another opportunity I think we have for those new practitioners, like you were just talking about, they've never had to think about having residual income before, because they did think that patients would already be coming through the door. So there's that Chinese proverb, I keep quoting this Chinese proverb that says, when was the best time to plant a tree if you want shade? And the answer was 20 years ago. But when's the second best time? It's right now. And I think we're in such a unique time because we have all these practitioners whose eyes have been open to the fact that the future is never certain. And so why not create a backup plan and an ancillary income stream that can be residual? Our MPCP definitely helps them do that.
Absolutely.
Now, I know that prior to the last 3 or 4 weeks, and you had mentioned it already, you were very active in networking groups and finding a lot of your leads for potential health professionals, potential NutraMetrix consultants through one-to-one or meetings in networking groups. How has that changed with the move to kind of an online environment? And how are you making connections with new people that maybe you've been given a referral for?
Great question. I've learned from this company, I've learned from my senior partners that relationships are really everything. I got better business training with this company than I did with my university. And it's really instilled within me that relationships are everything. Your network is your net worth. I've been building community and building relationships for a long time in person. And a few years ago, actually, I had an inclination to start doing networking through Zoom. And I actually started doing it with a number of people, but it was a concept that was not very easily adopted by people because they really had a preference for being in person. So I kind of let it wane for a while and I didn't do it, but we're in a very unique circumstance right now where people don't have a choice. Right. And they're forced to be online and utilize these resources. So it's kind of reignited it and made it a lot easier for us to kind of have a listening ear and reach out to people because they're stuck at home. Right. They have more of an openness to communicate because they don't have a lot of other distraction that they did prior. And I actually, all of our Market America's trainings have switched from being in person to online recently. And the same thing happened with both my professional networking community and the neighboring communities that I've witnessed. It's all of a sudden now everybody is doing Zoom meetings. Right. And it's just actually accelerated my results.
And I agree with you 100% on that. And the other thing that's great about it is it's taken down any geographical barrier to accessing the trainings because, normally we have 2 to 3 NC trainings a year and people have to travel to them. And through the GMTSS, we've had NutraMetrix 101s and 201s in live locations where people could come and in one day get temporary NutraMetrix consultant training, get enough to know whether they want to build through NutraMetrix or they want to come to the longer, bigger, more intensive corporate training. But those were still in a specific geographic area. So we would probably get, 30 to 40 people to those 101s, 201s because of geographic limitations. And we've had 3 weekends in a row of online 101s and 201s. And we had people from Canada and Hawaii and Montana and Utah. And we had all these people joining that have said, I've been waiting for a training to come to my area. And you guys haven't been in my area. I'm so thankful to be able to join. So It's great to be able to have, number one, people having time to be on the online trainings, and number two, all the geographic barriers taken away. And then also just the amount of content that the company is putting out right now. I know within NutraMetrix alone, we're putting out somewhere between 5 and 7 broadcasts a week right now, just on our major, but yet here on the Market America channel, pretty much 3 a day, 3 different Zooms going on a day minimum. And so there's so much training for people to plug into. And people can either be Netflix binging, which is going to definitely not put them in any different of a place when they come out of this, or they could be training binging. And I think we have a lot of people training binging, and that's going to help them in the long run. Now, don't get me wrong. We do need downtime every once in a while. So an occasional Netflix binge is fine. I'm not trying to like offend anybody that does their Netflix binges to stress relief. But if we can intersperse training in there, that's going to help us grow a business or help us create residual income for ourselves moving forward. I just think that's fantastic. So what kind of results are you getting with these contacts that you've had, that you built through the online communities? You mentioned you have a couple new accounts that started in the last week. That's fantastic. Congratulations. But how are you keeping the excitement going with your people?
It's just kind of a unique scenario that's just been accelerated actually by this. And it's tough for me to tell because it's still like the story is still unfolding, because I was doing a lot of work leading up to the shutdowns that kind of contributed to my growth. But what I am seeing is, because everything is moved and directed to forcing us being online, it's allowed me to kind of just have like just better communication with people. I'm utilizing social media a lot, and the whole point is just kind of really building relationships. So I'm doing as much as I can with my networking community to promote them and to engage them. And it's just like networking is such a foundational component of what I do business-wise, because it's about that reciprocity. I'm a giver when I go out into the networking community. I want to see how much I can promote and help the people that are around me, and not just be a taker and ask them for referrals. And once we establish that reciprocity, and my reputation of being reciprocal really kind of emanates throughout the circle, it helps for people to feel comfortable,
right,
to deliver me referrals. And I think I've been somebody that's just been more innovative and more aggressive about promoting other people, which allows me to accelerate that reciprocity. And in terms of like, asking for follow-ups and these kinds of things, it's always been our process to really connect with someone, find a common ground, do a 5 to 10 minute phone call. I'm lucky to be partnered with Lisa Grant, and she's mentored me and coached me throughout the whole process. And her entire way of doing things revolves very much on having that initial contact where we can give kind of a bird's eye overview of what the NutraMetrix program is over the phone in a 5 to 10 minute period of time, so that we don't waste anybody's time. Exactly. And even with people being distracted with other things and going through a hiatus, it's still important to establish that contact, and we're doing that over the telephone. But once we need to dive deeper and there's a need there, a need is established, and we do go through the trainings, Zoom, telephone, and social media have been absolutely fundamental.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was doing a NutraMetrix 101, 201 last weekend, and there were some people that were brand new to building an unfranchised, brand new to referral marketing, brand new to everything that we do. And they were on our 101, 201. And one of the questions that several of them asked was, how often do you follow up with somebody when you're making that connection with them? If let's say you put a post out and you ask your network, who has a great chiropractic recommendation, or who has a doctor that talks about integrative health, and you get a referral from them, and then you ask them to create the connection, the introduction, how often are you following up to try to build that relationship with them? And so that question came up a couple of times. And so I'm sure there's people listening to us today that have that question. What's your response to that question?
Very, very good question. And I just really think it goes back to relationships, right? That foundation of relationships. Because, for example, if I have a wealth advisor that's a great connection, a great person in my circle, and we've built a great symbiotic referral relationship, and he provided a referral. And so if the referral source is weak and that relationship was weak, the referral is going to be weak and my follow-up is going to be weak, because there's not going to be a lot of stock put into the person that their trusted contact is referring. So if I will follow up, I try to do it as soon as I can. I'm actually inundated with referrals, so it's a good situation.
Good problem to have. Good problem to have.
Problem to have. But the thing is, if I get a referral, I want to make sure that I do my homework on the person. I understand who they are before I pick up the phone. And once I do, I pick up the phone, I contact them, and I just start with trying to understand who they are. I don't lead with what I have or what I do or what I want them to do. I lead with trying to understand and trying to be a friend and looking for the pain point. What is it that they're having trouble with that I could provide a solution to? And from there, that really opens up the door to a much easier conversation. But if it's somebody that I'm reaching out to and I'm having difficulty reaching them, I will, a lot of times I'll go back to the original referral source and I'll ask for a little bit more insight and maybe some prodding.
Okay, great. Now we do teach some of that in the NC training as well. For example, we teach the first appointment isn't about doing a presentation. It's about what we call a discovery meeting, which is asking them questions and finding that pain point and seeing, we don't know what to recommend to them until we know what their problems are. So it's about finding that. So for those of you that are new, you may want to consider coming to a NutraMetrix consultant training so you can learn that. And that leads to my last question. I know we have talked in the past, and I think I'm biased, but I think you agree that every franchise owner at some point or another should get trained as a NutraMetrix consultant, even if they don't plan to build with NutraMetrix being their primary focus. But what would you say to an unfranchised owner that hasn't been to an NC training yet as to why they should learn more about NutraMetrix?
Wow. Great questions. So I love that how beautifully NutraMetrix is woven into and layered on top of the unfranchised system. The two intermingle and are intertwined so beautifully. And it's great for people to develop the foundational skills as an unfranchised owner, but utilizing NutraMetrix, because we focus on billion-dollar markets, health and nutrition has actually risen to the top democratically as a really top performing market. The reason being our marketplace perfectly matches with what we have. That's who we are as a company. And so the marketplace is in such a situation that is kind of driving people's desire to want prevention, natural prevention options, and wanting them from their healthcare provider. So knowing that this is a very, very in-demand market, and knowing that it's a very top performing division of a company that we proudly represent, it's really important for people to be what I say as knowing enough to be dangerous, right? You don't have to know
yes.
everything, but you have to know, you have to be a product of the product, just the same way you have to use the product so you know how to recommend them to others. You have to know enough to be dangerous about the division, because guess what? When you find an individual in your networking community or in your circle that either is a health professional or can lead to health professional, you're going to need to know the exact resources that you can direct them to so that they can catapult and accelerate the BV production in your organization.
It's so powerful. I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand, because our basic business plan is built on the average unfranchised owner having a portfolio of 10 to 20 preferred customers. But as you mentioned, we have these health professionals that have a built-in customer base through their patients. They don't call them customers, they call them patients, but they have hundreds, if not thousands, of patients that they see every month. And those people are already looking for supplement options. And when their practitioner provides it to them and the practitioner knows their medical history, knows what medications they're on, it just makes so much sense. And then the system that we have built in place can help the health professional improve patient outcomes, generate additional revenue for the practice, but also provide additional revenue to maybe provide staff incentives to be able to participate in their wellness program, or staff bonuses. There's so many different ways that we could go into that. And we do talk about that at the NutraMetrix consultant training. So for all of you that are joining us on Facebook today, or those of you that are on the Zoom call with us, we thank you for spending time with us. David, I thank you so much for taking the time out of your Saturday for an interview with me today. Those of you that want to learn more about NutraMetrix, we do have NutraMetrix 101s and 201s in the GMTSS, so you can check the GMTSS system and look for upcoming 101s and 201s. We're going to have one scheduled pretty much every month throughout the rest of this time period. Maybe even some months we'll have more than that. But you can also check NutraMetrix.com to learn about our products, and you can check for NutraMetrix on Facebook. Check the NutraMetrix Facebook page. We'll be talking about more information there. Thanks for joining us again. Thank you, David. I can't thank you enough. And any final comments before we end?
I just want to say thank you so much. I mean, I don't think you get enough recognition. I don't know if people understand or know how powerful it is to have somebody like you and the rest of the team, Dr. Mason, Sarah, Betsy, Dr. Tina Rose, Lisa Grant. I can't thank you enough for who you are and what you're being in this space. We are so lucky to have you. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. We have an incredible team, our entire team at NutraMetrix and Market America as a whole. I think, where do these people come from? Because I've never seen a company that attracts so many amazing people, both on the corporate side and on the field side. And it's one of the perks of being an unfranchised owner is you get your business family, right? And so thank you for being a part of our business family. Again, we'll see you guys all later. Thank you so much and have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.